Hey everybody, Flanker here, and welcome to Submarine Saturdays. This is Cold Waters. It's one of my favorite games that I play. I used to play a lot. I play it less regularly, but I'd like to share it with you guys, and we'll start a Let's Play series, probably playing like once or twice every weekend. I'm hoping it'll give me the motivation to finally finish a campaign, which I've never done in this game so far. So click on campaign here. We're gonna do the 84 campaign. You can do it. There's a North Atlantic campaign 68, which is difficult because the submarines aren't as good, and then a South China Sea 2000 campaign with the very capable Seawolf submarines. We're gonna go 84. We're gonna go with Los Angeles. So we submarine. So here's, we're selecting our submarine here, right? We could choose other submarines like the Narwhal or the Sturgeon or the Permits. The Skipjack for hard mode. This is one of the earlier US SSNs. These ones are quieter. Los Angeles is a little louder but faster. They're all 4-tube submarines, these ones. And then the Skipjack, I think the 6-tube submarine, but I think only 2 of them can fire wire-guided torpedoes, so certainly hard mode. Alright, but we're gonna go to Los Angeles as Admiral Rickover would wish us to do. Heck yeah. Speaking of Rickover, that's our whole name. We are the USS Rickover, SSN 709. Okay, great. Alright, so now we go through the political events. Long story short, Reagan becomes president. He's gonna push the Soviets too hard. Excuse me. Okay. Soviets. Oh, excuse me. Soviets aren't doing too good. A little instability. Reagan's pushing them hard. They shoot down an airliner. Which, by the way, this actually happened. I only learned this like a week or two ago, but in the 80s, the Soviet pilot near Korea did in fact shoot down a civilian airliner with a US congressman on it, I would add. Apparently the pilot made the decision on his own, separate of higher authority, and he thought the airliner was a US national surveillance aircraft based on the same hull. So a little fun fact for y'all there. We're gonna deploy some Pershing missiles to Germany. So this screen, what always got me was these shirtless guys right there. Just hanging out next to the missiles. I always thought that was the weirdest thing on this screen. Anyways, Soviets think the drill is real, a nuclear drill, and then they're gonna invade. There they are, with those what are those? I think those are T-62s. There's the muzzle brake on them. Yeah, it's either a T-62 or T-64, and Mi-8 hips above them. Anyways, they're invading. Oh, look at that photo right there. It's got the Mi-26. I love the Mi-26. Such a big helicopter. So cool. Okay. Great. Well, not great. We're going to war. Not good. Okay. So, my first mission, it looks like it's to intelligence estimates indicate that enemy Spetsnaz commandos will land from a submarine in the vicinity of Oslo in the next week. You are ordered to intercept and eliminate them before they land. Okay, great. So that's kind of how this game's gonna work. We're gonna get mission after mission for our submarine, and we'll just keep completing them until we win the war. Okay, so we're gonna go to our loadout here. So you can see we've got 14 Mark 48 torpedoes. These are dual purpose, anti-ship or anti-submarine. We've got the Moss, which is it's a submarine simulator, and we'll launch it to deceive enemy torpedoes that are launched at us. Then we've got 8 Harpoon missiles. These are tube launched. We can launch them underwater at low depths, which is nice. In the game, I generally prefer to take Tomahawks, right? The Tomahawk anti-ship missile, the TASM. But we're not going to do that because reload these missiles. You see these times right here. Right, these times right here. It takes time to reload our ship, right? Time to offload a torpedo and then time to bring on a Tomahawk, so we're just gonna roll out with what we got because we're on the clock right now. I mean, the Spetsnaz are on the way. That's the kind of cool thing about the strategic layer in this game. You got some choices to make. Okay. So that is that, and we'll keep the loadout we got. We did change what was loaded in Tube 2. We did put a Moss there. This is my general setup I like. I like to roll with 3 Mark 48s and 1 Moss. Alright, so anchor is away. Here's the strategic map. We are a little submarine. You can see us moving along the map there. We're gonna go along the coast here. So we put ourselves in between Oslo and the Arctic Barents Sea bases where that Soviet submarine is gonna come from. And we're just gonna wait here. And what you see on the map is like, you see all the tanks, and those are basically who controls what. You see planes flying, and then those blue lines are the SOSUS network. The SOSUS network is a like sound system on the bottom of the sea meant to perform surveillance. And so those pick up these Soviet contacts, and we see where they're going. And then we intercept them. You see how I moved into it, and now we've got this, which is basically the lead into an engagement, okay? So there's a couple ways to do this. We could just go straight for all hands man battle stations, or we could close 2. I'm gonna have it close 2, 10 kiloyards. I think that'll be good because these guys are going to be in like an older Soviet submarine that's not going to be have very good listening, and it's frankly going to be a little quiet too. It's probably going to be a diesel sub, so we want to start close. Otherwise, we'll probably just spend a lot of time hunting this guy down. All right, let's start.
On sonar, lost contact.
Right, boom. First thing,
rig ship for ultra quiet.
Silent running. Apparently, that's not an actual
Con sonar, new contact
phrase.
Bearing 085. Designated Sierra.
Okay, so
1.
here's our submarine. This is kind of one layer, one part of the
sonar,
tactical
new contact bearing
view.
128.
And
Designated
we've got
Sierra
our
2.
like, there's an actual name for this too, but basically like the tactical map view. Okay, so here we can zoom out, we can zoom in. You see there's the Norwegian coast, and then here we are. Here's our plot, and then we've got 2 unidentified contacts plotted. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna identify those targets based on their sonar frequency, the frequencies we're getting on sonar, right? So I pull up our signature identifier here, and then we scroll through, and we're gonna match the frequencies on that waterfall plot to what we're seeing from this contact, and we're gonna attempt to make an identification. Now that kilo is kind of close, but I don't think that's right. I think that tango lines up perfectly.
Sierra
okay, so
is classified as submerged submarine.
What we've done there is we've said we think it's a tango, right? And if it is, we're gonna see this sonar plot value go up, right? Right now it's at 39%, and we'll see if that goes up higher. Okay, as we continue to track the target. Okay, now let's go S2, a whiskey.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as submerged submarine.
Okay, and then up here we can kind of look at the capabilities of each of these boats. So the whiskey's a diesel class submarine. Whiskey, I'm betting the whiskey's carrying these Spetsnaz. That's my bet. We see it's got set 65 torpedoes and pretty noisy. Okay, and then the Tango's a little bigger, a lot bigger in fact, 2-3 times as big as that whiskey. More advanced torpedo. What about these? This is an improvement in the set 65. These test 71 torpedoes. The most important feature of the torpedoes, in my opinion, is the seeker range. So these have a seeker range of 880 yards. And that's basically like how far away the torpedo can see. So these 2 torpedoes are pretty similar. Test 71 just has a much longer range. Okay. Alright. We're about.
Come right to.
That whiskey is indeed our target.
Helm I.
Pretty far away. Or he may be far away. As the accuracy of these, as the confidence percentage of these sonar contacts increases, the range will change a lot. Makes sense. I love the way this game looks. It's not like a very graphically intensive game. I don't know how many frames I'm pushing right now. I can't see my frame marker, but even my relatively underpowered GPU right now can kill this game, which is good. It's good for our stream. I've noticed, by the way, that my mouse cursor is off between the stream and the game. Sorry about that, guys. We'll play through this engagement and I'll maybe attempt to address that technically.
Come right to.
Okay.
17.
So there is a little bit of waiting in this game, and what we can do when that happens is we can speed things up here. Gosh, that tango's getting close. Close enough to where he might hear me. So the way we can go to see if he hears us is we go to the signature tab again, and you see the contact text right there. It's got a 37 MF active and a 1 low frequency passive. So what that means is like basically like a, kind of like an order of magnitude scale. If it's on the positive side, his chances of detecting you are generally better, but if it's negative, you're generally fairly probably concealed, right? So we're just now crossing into the positives. I find most of the time they tend to really get a positive fix around like 10. Around 10, right? It's again that contact number next to their sensors is just like an estimate. Based on, again, it's based on things like how far away we think they are and kind of like what depth we think they're at and what kind of effects are going on. So not always truly accurate. Whiskey is far away. Now this tango's so close, I feel like we should have an accurate fix on him by now. So you see the whiskey just turned into an accurate fix. And what that means is we can actually go look at him. There's the whiskey. Tiny little diesel boat. And what this happens is when your contact confidence is at 95%, then you can see the enemy model. Interestingly enough, sometimes you realize you've misidentified a submarine. In this case, we definitely do have a whiskey, but sometimes you'll look at the model and you'll go, oh wow, that does not match what I've assigned to that contact. Which is not a tool available to real submariners. They do not have this view. And a good view it is. Okay, so the whiskey is 17.9 kiluyards away. Pretty far. That'd be a long shot. We'd get them. The nice thing about diesel boats is their top speed is low. But if that was a more capable Soviet nuclear submarine, that wouldn't be a guaranteed shot range. Okay, so that's cool. Let's figure out what's going on with this tango before we engage. The tango would be the threat. Like, we could launch a torpedo. We'd want to maintain the wire, and the tango might interfere with that. I'm checking my solution here. Not my solution, my contact profile, because like I wonder if we got this misidentified. Nah, man, that's submarine.
Con sonar Sierra 1 is
tango.
Classified as submerged submarine.
Okay. Okay, the tango's starting to come into a better contact now. This is an unfortunate setup, right? We're close to the wrong submarine. The Tango's nice. We're gonna get them both. The Whiskey's the target. Here, let me mute those sounds for you. Sorry, guys. Getting some messages. Okay. There we go. We are muted. We are back, and we do have a very good fix on that Tango now. It was very close. Okay. So what I'm gonna go for here is a snapshot. I'm gonna do it using our left side tube. Gosh, he is close. How close is he? 1.9 kiluyards. Basically submarine point blank. Okay. He's going pretty fast. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait and see. Whiskey's going 8 knots. The Whiskey should be gaining distance on us, but it's not. It's actually closer than it was earlier. That Tango's heading fast. Okay. He's gonna overtake us, and what I want him to do is I want him to overtake us. I want us to be behind him. Because then what we can do is we can put a shot into his baffles. Now, what that means is, like, on the rear of a submarine, they're not very good at hearing back here with their sonar, which makes sense because the sonar panels are generally on the side, sonar arrays, or on the front. Sometimes on the sail, that part sticking up the top. But back here they're bad at hearing, so if I shoot him back there, I'm sure he'll shoot back. In this game, I rarely see someone not make a snapshot when they do finally detect a torpedo in their baffles, even if it's like basically their last dying act. But the nice thing about engaging from his baffles is we'll be very close, and I bet he'll overshoot the torpedo. Because like the torpedoes in this game, they're modeled accurately. Like torpedoes don't automatically begin seeking targets once they leave the tube. Basically the guys firing them have to like set a distance at which the homing devices will activate, right? And if we're behind him, he won't, I mean, he doesn't know where we are now, and when we're behind him and we shoot the torpedo, he'll know, like, yeah, okay, the torpedo's coming at my rear, it's likely the direction of the target that shot it as well, and he'll do that snapshot, but he probably won't think that we're like 2 kiluyards away from him, right? I mean, I imagine he would set the torpedo to begin homing at like 6 or 7. Okay, so we're looking at his contact numbers, and once his contact numbers drop, there they go, they just dropped, so now we know we're in his baffles. Okay. Tube 1, passive homing.
Shoot tube
Torpedo
1.
away.
Aye, sir.
We've got it on passive homing, so it won't make those pings.
Con sonar.
Yep, there he goes.
In from Sierra 1.
Okay. So here's going to be our evasion technique. We're going to turn into him.
Make turns.
We're going to increase speed.
1. Con sonar. We are cavitating. Come left to 088. Helm aye.
Now,
Con maneuvering. Making turns for 15 knots. Con, fire control. Weapon acquired. Con sonar. No longer cavitating.
okay, let's see this torpedo hit. There he is. There's our torpedo coming in. It evaded his countermeasure. This is going to be a nice shot.
Con maneuvering.
Got him.
Making turns for 10
Good hit.
knots.
Good hit, and here his torpedo goes by us. Its homing device hasn't activated yet. And I'm pretty confident he won't have it on
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
a circular searching
Passing
pattern,
100 feet.
which would, if it activated soon, let it acquire us again. Okay, so Tango down. We've lost contact with the Whiskey. We are rising in depth.
Make turns for 0 knots.
As I
Maneuvering
accidentally
aye.
pressed the ballast. I accidentally increased positive ballast there.
Make turns for 5 knots. Maneuvering aye.
Make depth 150 feet, dive aye.
Come right to 170. Helm aye.
Okay. Great. We got the escort down. Like I said, that's not the mission. The mission is get that whiskey. That's got the Spetsnaz on it. Usually does. And we lost contact with the whiskey. We gotta get further south. We're next to a bunch of noisy stuff right now. I'm not surprised we lost contact with the whiskey, right? We got a sinking submarine next to us, 2 noisemakers and a torpedo. This is a noisy place.
Con.
Come right to
So we'll increase the speed.
180. Helm aye. Con sonar regain.
Straight
Con
south.
helm.
There we go.
Steady course.
There's the contact. Looks like he's heading towards us. Reload tube 1. Another Mark 48.
Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
And we're just gonna keep closing the range until that solution's at 95%, and then we'll launch 1 torpedo. 1 torpedo should get this whiskey. The Soviets in this game really do have the worst torpedoes. The ADCAP, I'm sorry, it's not even the ADCAP. This is just a Mark 48. The ADCAP, the advanced capabilities, is an improvement upon the Mark 48 that didn't exist or wasn't in service yet in '84. It probably existed. I bet it was under R&D, but they're very hampered in comparison. Okay, there we go. We're above 60%. Pretty soon we'll be getting up there, 95. Nice. Okay, boom. There we go. He is a lot closer than he previously was. Okay, turn off. Turned off the high speed. Okay, and again, we'll go for a tube 1 launch. And we'll do passive homing. That's fine. Yep, those torpedo settings are all good. Okay, so this blue dot, what it means right there is that would be like the intercept course of our torpedo at its travel speed. We were trying to hit that whiskey right now. So that's more useful for the non-homing torpedoes in the earlier campaigns. But it is kind of useful for letting us know where we maybe should activate our Mark 48s. So I usually look at the intercept point and I bring it back like a kiloyard or 2 for the activation point, and we'll launch. Actually, you know what we're gonna do? This is a little trick of mine. I don't know if submariners actually do this, but this is a little trick of mine. We're gonna launch out here.
Fire control, we've lost the wire.
All right. That did not work as intended. All right, take 2. We're gonna launch tube 2 out this way.
Shoot tube 3. Aye,
Alright,
sir.
so you can see that first torpedo turned green. What that means is we lost the wire. We have no control over that torpedo. What it's going to do is it's going to go to that point that we set when we launched it, and it's going to activate its homing. And that's unfortunate because we launched it basically nowhere. Now, you'll ask, why did I do that? Okay, well, if you take a look at tube 3, or yeah, tube 3, the torpedo that came from tube 3, it's heading out to the west of the target. What we're going to do is we're going to bring the torpedoes out to a different bearing than from the target than the bearing our submarine is on, and then we're going to turn them into the submarine. Of course, you can only do that if you still have the wire. Now, the nice thing about that is that as the torpedo gets closer to the target, when the target snapshots along the bearing of the torpedo, he's going to snapshot torpedoes in a direction that are totally different than the direction our submarine is on. That's nice because it means we'll have to do minimal, if any, effort to evade those torpedoes, right? Basically, like, the enemy's sensors are not good enough to tell him where we are right now, so he'll launch on the torpedoes, our torpedoes, as they get closer to him. So we're doing a little trick, right? We're bringing the torpedo out. He doesn't know it, to a different bearing than where we are. Now the unfortunate thing about this little TTP, this technique or procedure, is that sometimes you lose the wire
Sierra 2 is
right when you launch a
cavitating.
torpedo, right? And basically, like, we lost a torpedo. We don't have unlimited torpedoes, and when we do run out, we're gonna have to go to our submarine tender. In the game, that tender is always near England and Holy Loch, which is a big submarine base then, and maybe now, I don't know, but definitely then. And we're gonna have to go stock up on torpedoes, and sometimes that comes at the wrong time. The enemy in the strategic map is doing stuff, even while you're going back to resupply. Okay. It's unfortunate that he's turning away. It's going to increase the time it takes to bring this torpedo home, but we'll get him. So if you see in the bottom left, the TTR, I think that's like time to run. It means like how many more minutes that torpedo can run at its current speed. And we got like 10 minutes right there, which is going to be more than sufficient. The Mark 48, like I said, great torpedo compared to whatever junk the Soviets are using. Okay, we're going to speed this up. We got to get basically at least online with him to execute this TTP that I was mentioning earlier. Okay, we're gonna get a little ahead. I like this angle. We're gonna bring it in. We're gonna activate it. Manually guide it in there. Okay. What you're seeing here is the seeker cone. So that's basically what this torpedo can see. This torpedo's cone is blue right now because it has not acquired a target.
Sonar, noisemaker, bearing.
He heard the torpedo. He just dropped a noisemaker. That's that flashing thing on the screen.
Con, fire control,
And
weapon
boom,
acquired.
right there. The torpedo turns red. Turns in and has acquired either the noisemaker or it has acquired him. Now the torpedoes are smart. They'll attempt to evade noisemakers, which usually does buy a little time for a defending submarine because they generally turn around noisemakers. They don't go through them. Now this guy is totally screwed. This torpedo is way too advanced to miss something like a whiskey diesel submarine. I don't even think the noisemaker fooled the Mark 48. No, it did not. Yeah, and it's just diesel submarines can't go fast. I mean, he's going 14 knots right now. That's probably his maximum speed. The data up there says 13 knots. Yeah, so right about. And he's going down.
Con, sonar, lost contact.
All right.
Sierra 2,
Excellent.
last bearing 140. Contact breaking up.
Didn't even fire a snapshot. RIP. Okay, so at this point, I'll close my door real quick. Okay, at this point, we've eliminated all identified targets on the map. There could be more targets that we don't know about. I suspect that's not the case. So we're gonna leave the combat here. It's kind of weird the way the UI works. By leaving the combat, we're saying like basically like, yeah, we think we've done what we came here to do, and The next screen will tell us. So leave combat. This tells us what was actually here. So there were just the Tango and the Whiskey, both sunk at the end of the mission, and there it shows our weapons remaining. Great. Alright, so command tells us good job. And now they'll give us a new mission at sea. Alright, red subs sunk. So like the campaign, as I understand it, is like you just get missions and you complete them, and eventually you complete enough missions that you get kind of like a couple final missions, and then you win the game at some point. I don't know. We'll find out. I know some people have beat the game, not me. Okay. Intelligence reports that an enemy task force is preparing to sail from Murmansk for patrol in the vicinity of the Norwegian coast. A NATO carrier battle group is currently providing cover in the region and must be protected. You will therefore intercept and destroy this task force, especially any capital ships. An enemy escort of surface combatants and or attack submarines should be expected. Locate and sink capital ships. This is a big mission. Okay. Reload some tubes. Get an ad cap and an ad cap in there. Alright. Off we are. Okay, so that guy, just based on his course, check out our brief again. Where's our course to be protected operating? They are preparing to sail from Murmansk for a patrol in the vicinity of the Norwegian coast. Okay. So that patrol out there moving was definitely not what we're looking for. We're gonna see a surface task force cross the Sosis barrier from Norway to Spitsbergen. That might be them. Warsaw Pact invades Norway. So what this event means is that like one of those tanks has turned red, and that affects the game in two ways. One, they're kind of like the targets that certain Soviet task forces may be heading for, and two, surface forces close to tanks do get detected. So it's nice to have blue tanks on the Norwegian coast. They tend to detect some more stuff. Okay, so I think that guy, that red one heading out there was our task force. Dang. Okay. I did not want to intercept him in shallow water, but here we are. Yeah. Okay.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 2.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
Okay, we are at 50 feet.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 193. Designated
Two
Sierra
contacts
2.
out front. This could go either way.
Con
These
sonar,
missions.
new contact
Sometimes
bearing
they are
203. Designated Sierra 3.
relatively weak task force. Sometimes they are.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 234.
Sometimes they are big and deadly
Designated
task
Sierra
forces.
4.
Let's check out our layers real quick before we continue. Okay, not many layers. 700 feet. An Udaloy up front. That's bad. The Udaloys are very capable ASW destroyers, anti-submarine destroyers. I think we got 2 Udaloys. That is usually a sign that this is a big task force. Usually with a big capital ship to be protected. Sometimes not. This could be an anti-submarine patrol. Sometimes you see 2 Udaloys along with a third ship operating. So, however,
Con sonar, Sierra
presence
3
of 4
is
ships
classified
already
as
tells me I
capital
think
ship.
this is not an anti-submarine patrol, and that it's very low. I don't know if the game considers that a capital ship. I suppose light cruisers are capital ships, certainly on the lower end. But yeah, this is what we're looking for. I'm feeling confident. Okay. Submarine, maybe Foxtrot? No, I wouldn't buy that. That third sonar line isn't quite right. You know what is close to a Foxtrot though is a Kilo. No, I'm totally off on that. Kilo is close to one of the other more older diesel subs. What the heck this is? Giving us some trouble finding it. Probably a whale. There are whales in this game. Okay, no, it's a trawler. Okay, that's a
Sierra
neutral
4
contact.
is classified as merchant.
I think this is our target. Okay, so there is only 3 targets. It does have the number of ships that an anti-submarine patrol could have. 2 Udaloys, but the Sverdlov might be the capital ship we're talking about. Anyways, we're gonna sink it. Let's okay. So here on our S1, contact Sierra 1, we see that his towed array is not estimated to be yet detecting us, which is good. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna raise the periscope and we're gonna get a look at these targets.
Upscope.
And what this is doing is it's
Downscope.
allowing us to compare the visuals against the sonar profiles we just put on those targets, and it gives us a visual range fix. So like, and importantly, we're detecting the target in 2 mediums, right? Sonar and visual. So it gives us very confident results on what we're looking at. Now that does look like an Udaloy. Compared against the profile. Yeah. That is an Udaloy. That is a Sverdlov. We don't have to worry about him too much. Certainly a capable ship, but not when it comes to submarines. Is no, hold on. Other target, also an Udaloy. Okay. Yeah, we might have just ran into an anti-submarine patrol, but we'll sink it and we'll see what comes out of the mission. Okay. So let me tell you guys what's going to happen here. Okay, we are 20 kiluyards from the closest Udaloy. So we're going to launch torpedoes. And what's going to happen is those Udaloys are immediately going to launch this SSN-14 missile. This is a nasty weapon for us. What it does is it's a missile that carries a torpedo to us, a UGMT homing torpedo. So they're not the best torpedoes. They're a little slow compared to like a USA 80 or the bigger torpedoes that are launched from submarines, but they'll keep us busy. That's the most important thing. When they shoot those SSN-14s at us, we're not going to be able to keep on our lines and manage our torpedoes and really ensure that our torpedoes hit home right. So what we've got to do then is we've got to, you know, come up with solutions where we feel confident that our torpedoes will home in on their own. The other thing too to consider is like,
Shoot 2-1. Aye, sir.
all right, we are now in the game, boys.
Shoot 2-3.
That
Aye,
was
sir.
totally an accident.
Shoot 2-4.
Okay,
Aye,
so
sir.
we've launched and we're gonna go down to depth.
Make depth
I was just gonna say the other thing about
08
those
dive by.
SSN-14s is they come in
Make
from the
depth
top, right?
35,
So it's not good to be on the
08 dive by.
surface when you launch your torpedoes against something that's going to shoot an SSN-14 at you, because there's a small chance that that torpedo just drops right on top of you, and you have no chance to evade. And even if it comes in close, it's still not a nice place to be, right? So we're going to go down to 350 feet, and that'll give us some time to react when those torpedoes come in. long as they're gonna let us, Oh, there comes the first SSN-14. Alright, now it's time to get these torpedoes back on a regular course. We're not gonna have time to do the tricky evade like I was talking about. Okay. Now if we're lucky, boom, okay, that one's way short. See that yellow right there, that's a SSN-14 that's entered the water, very short. Their estimation of our range is woefully off. Just in these plots. It's like another one woefully short. Alright, we got lucky on that. They'll keep launching though. They'll fix our range at some point. I'm very confident. That is a lot shorter than they usually shoot them, isn't it? Basically like 6 and 10 kiloyards. From where they are. A lot of times they'll shoot those suckers like 10 to 20 kiloyards, which is exactly where we're at. No worries.
Con, dive at 350 feet, dive high.
Now, in terms of the number of weapons we'll have to expend on each of these targets, one Mark 48 should take down each Udaloy. The Sverdlov will probably require 2 Mark 48s. And I say Mark 48s because the Sverdlov, I believe it has a fairly formidable point defense system. One option in the game, alright, there's a... Based on that pattern, I'm gonna assume that's not a...
Come left to 114, helm
That's not a SSN-14 UGMT. That is a Test 71, I believe. Test 71 torpedo, and we're gonna change course to evade that, because it'll keep going north, slightly northeast. But yeah, the Sverdlov. One option for, as I was saying, one option for finishing off ships in this game is to launch your like cruise missiles, harpoons, and tomahawks. I generally like to use that against ships that have weak or lack point defense, like transports. Now the destroyer, maybe. You know, maybe you launch 2 to destroyer and hope you overwhelm its point defense. A cruiser? No way, man. Cruiser's got a lot of point defense. It would take probably an inappropriate amount of missiles to overcome the point defense on a cruiser. So probably have to launch another torpedo at it. Unfortunate, because torpedoes
bearing 224
are usually what you run out of first on patrol.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure only.
SSN-14.
Con, helm, steady
Perhaps
course.
right for us.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Okay. A torpedo out of 2-4 has acquired the Udaloy, and that's a done deal. I have no doubt that that Udaloy will be accounted for. There is another USET 80, so I'm sorry, I said Test 71 earlier. These Udaloys launch USET 80 torpedoes. There's another USET 80 torpedo. Found on a fairly good bearing for us, actually.
Con, sonar, lost contact. Master, 1,
Udaloy
last
down.
bearing, 229. Contact breaking up.
Ship will render here in a moment. There it goes. Alright. Good center line hit. Lots of oil in the water. Big fire. He's sinking. Nice. Udaloy. Ooh. Can we zoom in here? We'll go back to that Udaloy in a moment. Okay. So that torpedo, that torpedo will probably acquire us, I think. UGMT homing torpedo. Nah, it says secret range here 4,000. I don't think that's correct.
191.
Yeah. Yeah, that torpedo does not see us. Range 4,000. That's a long range for a... for a small torpedo like the UGMT.
Fire control, weapon acquired.
Alright, let's watch this torpedo as it goes in. There's the torpedo. And this Udaloy is done. Look at that big
noisemaker
bulb on the front of the ship. That's its sonar array. Looks like he bought a little time with that countermeasure. It won't matter. Torpedo's still gonna get him. We lost a good solution on the target.
Fire control, weapon acquired.
A lot of noise over there. Comes our torpedo. Definitely gonna get on this one.
Noisemaker bearing 199.
Boom, not goom. You can barely talk. Okay, he's burning on down as well. Very solid. Okay, I'm gonna
make turns for 10 knots. Maneuvering aye. Con maneuver. Make turns.
We're gonna make speed 15 knots.
5 knots. Maneuvering
now that the Udaloys are out of the game, we have very little to worry about. This Sverdlov does not have any anti-submarine weapons at all. So we'll get a fix on him, and we'll launch a second torpedo if necessary. Now the reason I increased speed was that you said 80 is on the way. I want to evade that. In fact, we'll probably come about.
289.
We are more on the left side of its course currently. Nope.
Come left to 010. Helm aye.
To the north. Because we have less distance to travel if we want to get out of its secret cone that way. We're not going to travel to the south though, because then we'll run into that UGMT.
Last bearing
we'll probably lose the wire.
2. Contact is in the baffles.
On that torpedo from Tube 1, so we are going to put it on a bearing that I think will lead it to intercept the Sverdlov, and we'll let it run. I think it was a little bit off.
Con sonar lost contact. Master 3. Last bearing 201. Contact is in the baffles.
I bet this
Con sonar regained contact on Master 3 bearing.
As you said, 80 might get us.
74.
Frankly.
Helm aye. Come left to 287. Helm aye.
Well within the cone for the moment. All right, we're gonna
make turns for con sonar. We are cavitating.
Go to full ahead.
Con, torpedo room, tube.
Come right to 294. Helm aye.
Tube 2, wire lost.
Con, helm, steady course.
Probably should have adjusted that. Tube 2 torpedo while I had the chance.
Con, sonar, torpedo in the water.
Okay.
Torpedo in the water. Bearing 170.
Okay, so we are now detected by this torpedo. See right there?
Formed.
Now we are in torpedo evasion. So what we're going to do is we're going to run away from the torpedo. Just to put some distance between us and it.
Torpedo room, tube.
Con, sonar, lost contact. Master 3, last bearing 198. Contact faded.
Might have to go with missiles for this Sverdlov, frankly. By the time we're done evading this torpedo, he's going to be pretty far away. Okay. So, in my opinion, in this game, it's pretty hard to lose a torpedo. What we are going to have to do is basically evade this torpedo until it runs out of fuel. At this point, I don't know how much fuel it has left. Maybe a couple minutes.
Con,
what
maneuvering,
we might
making
do-
turns for 3 knots.
Con, torpedo room,
If it
2-1
breaks-
ready.
we're at some point it's gonna get close and we'll create a knuckle, and then it'll break depending on the knuckle. If it breaks this way, we'll do a turn to the south so that we can keep range on that spare glove. We'll get a little closer for it.
Con, knuckle formed.
Oh god. Oh, thank god. Yeah, I let that one get pretty close.
Passing 400 feet.
I should mention a knuckle doesn't always fool them. And I'll explain for you all soon what my understanding of a knuckle is.
Con, sonar, no longer cavitating.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
No. Why are you
Make
dropping a
turns
noisemaker?
for 3 knots. Maneuvering eye.
Yeah, so I just accidentally rigged my
Con,
ship
knuckle
for
formed.
silent running. What that would do is... There we go. Shift D for decoy.
Con, knuckle formed.
Con, maneuvering.
Passing 600 feet.
Con, sonar, we are cavitating.
There we go.
Passing 500 feet. Rig ship for ultra quiet.
Con, sonar, no longer cavitating.
Yeah, so
Come left.
I don't know why I pressed
193. Helm eye.
Shift S to launch a decoy. It's been a moment since I've been playing the game, and what that does is it puts your ship into silent running. Well, when you go into silent running, you also drop down to 5 knots. Definitely not the speed you want to select when a torpedo
Con,
is like
sonar, regained contact
that
on
close to you.
Master 3.
Definitely
bearing 193.
not recommended. Okay, so let's go to periscope depth.
Depth 50 feet. Dive high.
We re-establish contact with the spared lobe. It is by now presumably very far away,
Con, helm, steady course.
and I think we're gonna have to go for the missile kill. I know I just recommended against it. Reload those tubes. We'll get a periscope fix on him and see if he has any battle damage. Harpoon is the Harpoon warhead is not too big. If he doesn't have battle damage, I'm not sure we'll finish him off with harpoons because yeah, the warhead just isn't that big. I don't know if we'll be able to land more than 1 harpoon on the ship. And if he's undamaged, we would definitely need more than 1 harpoon.
Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
I mean, if I was him, I'd be running too. Just see a submarine gank 2 Uloys right in front of you. Yeah, I would turn around and run at full speed. The opposite direction as well. That was one of the easier Uloy engagements I've ever had. To be honest, those are usually troublesome ships. Usually they do get an SSN-14 right on top of you, and you're spending your time evading a UGMT homing torpedo, and then maybe other ships in the task force, their task force, have the opportunity to launch
Con,
more
torpedo
weapons
room,
against
tube
you.
3 ready.
And once they get like 2 or 3 torpedoes on you, that's when the game that's when the evasions get really complicated. Okay.
Let's
We're
go.
at periscope depth. Periscope up. The bearing is 193 for this ship. Ooh. Helicopter up. We gotta watch out for that because those guys have the ability to drop torpedoes. 193.
Con,
Okay, so
dive at 50 feet. Dive high.
on this heading, very far away.
Con, torpedo room, tube 4 ready.
He is very far away. We are not going to see his target anymore. There we go. Oh, we got him. There he is. Okay.
Downscope.
Periscope down. Make depth 200.
Make depth
Watch out for that
20
helicopter. He's
feet,
at
dive by.
50 kiluyards and gaining. He's moving 32 knots. Okay, yeah. We're gonna have to go for the harpoon launch. Damage, he has nothing. I will launch 4 harpoons against him. Frankly, that might not be enough. Okay, so 4 harpoons. We're gonna have the first 2 on top-down attack. So the harpoons have 2 modes. One where they fly straight in, another one where they kind of attempt to evade. So we're gonna use a mixture on this spheroid lobe. We're gonna have 2 in top-down attack. Those ones are gonna go in first, and then we're gonna have 2 in direct mode, which will come in second. And the idea being that like all 4 missiles will basically be doing final approach on the target at the same time.
Tube 2 ready.
Okay. And with 4 missiles, chances are he won't get some up.
Shoot 2-1. Aye, sir.
Missile 1 away. A few seconds. Missile 2 away.
Aye, sir.
Give it a few seconds.
Shoot
Missile 3.
Aye,
Missile 4. There's all our missiles.
Con, dive at 2
Okay, here's the first one.
feet, dive by.
We can see that Soviet helicopter. Yeah, the Soviet helicopters carry 2 UGM torpedoes, and they do have sonar dipping arrays, so they can be troublesome too. Part of why the Udaloy is again challenging, because not only does the Udaloy have the SSN-14s and the USAT-80 torpedoes and the nice sonar array, but it also, each one will deploy a helicopter, so really challenging anti-submarine ship. Probably, as I understand it, the best the Soviets had. Okay. We should be picking this ship up fairly soon. We lost a good contact on that spheroid lobe, so we don't see the ship render, but the missile doesn't care. The missile has its own radar. We'll pick it up. Alright, we're gonna load, in the meantime, our last 4 harpoons, just in case this salvo amazingly somehow... I don't want to say amazingly. There's a good chance this salvo doesn't sink this ship, but he's too far away to sink by any other means. 50 kiluyards, that's way too far for a Mark 48. Alright, that's 1 missile down. No.
Con, sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 066.
Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
Okay, torpedo in the water. Go deep. This is exactly what I was talking about. Oh, I forgot.
Con, sonar, lost contact. Master 3, last bearing 195. Contact
I forgot when you
faded.
launch the torpedoes, you really gotta move. Obviously, the big smoke is a big giveaway.
Passing 300 feet.
Con, sonar, lost contact. Master.
Con,
Alright,
knuckle
let's get a
formed.
baffle, a knuckle on that guy.
Passing
I
400
was calling
feet.
those baffles earlier. That's not a baffle. That was a sonar knuckle.
Passing 500 feet.
Okay.
Con, knuckle formed.
Con, sonar, no longer cavitating. Con, sonar, we are cavitating.
Gosh, man. We might have to let that let this Sverdlov get away. Unless we want to expend all of our harpoons on him. I'm not sure we landed a single harpoon. Which is really unfortunate.
Con, torpedo room, tube 3 ready.
We might have got lucky there. I think this noisemaker distracted the UGMT homing torpedoes enough that we are out of their tunnels. We'll go a little deeper.
Con, maneuvering,
Eliminate the
making turns
cavitation.
for. Con, sonar, no longer cavitating.
There we go. We're at flank ahead.
Passing 600 feet.
We're at flank speed with no flank ahead. Full speed ahead. Flank speed. I don't know. I don't know how the Navy actually works. Okay. Anyways, we are at full speed without any cavitation. Yeah, we got away from them.
Con, torpedo room, tube 4 ready.
Yeah, let's put 1 or 2 more kiloyards in between us and those UGMTs, and then we'll go back into periscope depth and assess effects on that Sverdlov. So the basic idea with like a knuckle is that if a submarine maneuvers abruptly at high speeds, it creates like an anomaly in the water. Basically, I think like a air bubble, bigger than a cavitation, right? And what the knuckle does is it confuses the homing mechanisms on the torpedo, right? So they're kind of nice. They're like basically like a free decoy. In fact, I find them to be a little bit more reliable than the decoys. The torpedoes sometimes seem to have a good sense of what's a decoy and what's not. However, with a knuckle, they will consistently like turn around a knuckle. And so those are very useful. And all you gotta do to create them, right? So I've got my submarine here going full speed. Just gotta put your rudder over as quick as you can.
Formed.
And boom, there it is, knuckle formed. Right off the propeller. Okay, great.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
And
Make turns for 5
let's go to
knots.
periscope depth. We're
Maneuvering
far
on.
enough away from those UGMTs. They're going to continue searching in a circular pattern until they run out of fuel. So we're safe from those for now. So we'll go up. We'll get a sonar contact on the Sverdlov. We'll put our periscope on it again. Get a good solution. And we'll take a look at that model. See what kind of damage we did. Maybe not much, to be honest.
Con, sonar, regained contact on. Master 3, bearing 193.
Way too far away.
Con, sonar, regained contact on. Master 4, bearing 301.
That is, I was about to say, they were estimating him at 16 yards initially.
Con, maneuvering.
Which would be nice.
making turns
16
for
yards, that is
5
a
knots.
realistic shot with a Mark 48, which is our surefire way for getting this guy, but we're just too dang far. And we're not going to catch up to him. His flank speed matches ours. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Usually these Sverdlovs are easy big tonnage. 16,000 tons. That's good tonnage, man. We might not get him though. Periscope depth
go.
achieved. Bearing 191. Contact reestablished. There he is. Oh, he's moving towards us. Yeah, one harpoon did indeed hit right there on his starboard side. That's not enough though. Yeah, these guys have nasty point defense. Not so much the secondary battery, but those smaller turrets. No, those are rangefinders. Where is his point defense turrets? Oh, there they are, up top on the superstructure near the bridge. You can see this guy has 4 point defense turrets on each side.
Con, dive at 50
That's
feet.
pretty
dive
nasty.
by.
Okay, scope down.
Scope.
His radar can detect our scope, so we don't need to keep that up. And man, I'm liking this. 36 kiloyards. 36,000 yards. I don't think anybody actually says kiloyards. I think that's just me. This says KYD on the UI in the game. Kiloyard. It just sounds cool, man. I wish they used meters. Like anybody. I mean, I'm sure, I know the Navy actually does use yards, but I'm more of a meters guy. More of a metric guy. Okay, but we're gonna let him close range. Once he gets down to, we'll say about 20, we'll launch a Mark 48. Question is, do we launch 1 or 2? I'm gonna launch 1. You know, we already spent 4 harpoons. The Mark 48s do we have in total? We have 10 Mark 48s left, and if this is not the task force that we are under orders to intercept, we're gonna need a good number of weapons for that task force. Yeah. Put us on an intercept
Come
course.
left to 172,
Let's run
helm
the
high.
time higher, and we'll watch that range tick down.
Con, torpedo room, tube.
Con, helm, steady course.
Yeah. One
Con,
ad cap.
torpedo room, tube 3 ready.
I think that's the move.
Con, torpedo room, tube 4 ready.
I think that is the move. 27,000 yards and closing. You know what? We'll close even more, because what that'll give us an opportunity to do is, if the first torpedo does not sink this target, then we can launch a second torpedo. So we'll close to, we'll say 10,000 yards. Now we're very fortunate that he's just totally inexplicably has decided to return to his old course. I guess maybe he's got a big mission. He saw those 2 Udaloys go down, and now he's got to risk it for the biscuit to get through. 15,000 yards in closing. Good for us. Great for us. I think in terms of the game AI, it seemed to have been a reaction to the harpoons, so I don't regret shooting those. Even though in real life, I think if I received harpoon missiles from a certain bearing, I would not turn around and move along that bearing. Okay. We are well within our engagement envelope here at 10.3, 10,300 yards. There's our intercept point. Cube 1.
Shoot 2-1. Aye, sir.
Cube 1 away. And we'll watch that torpedo home in on this Sverdlov. And we do definitely have second torpedo ready in case this ship is resilient enough to absorb a Mark 48 and a harpoon. It's an easy engagement, right? Because he doesn't have any ASW capability. He's got some sonar, but that's no good for him. Yeah, really, really awesome game in my opinion. I think Cold Waters does a great job of making like a simulation attempt at this kind of combat, but not too deep, right? Like it's modeled well, but it's not difficult to play. I wouldn't say Cold Waters is always realistic, but there is a surprisingly high number of real things modeled in the game. We haven't even covered a lot of them yet, but things like Knuckles, that's simulation-y, man. You know, like more Ace Combat kind of submarine game would just give you like 3,000 decoys. You could just launch decoys all the time, and then your submarine could go, you know, 60 knots and outrun torpedoes and whatever. And your submarine can absorb 8 torpedoes, you know, I mean, that's not Cold Waters. Cold Waters definitely gives you some advantages, but also yeah, has an element of believability to it. A good amount of believability. There it is. Big ship, 2 funnels. Big wake bow. Moving 32 knots. Hasn't even turned. Apparently doesn't care that this torpedo's nearby at all. I mean, I'm sure you can hear the torpedo. I don't know if the Sverdlov has decoys. I'm not sure it does. Alright, here we go. Let's go for the sink. 1 torpedo sink.
Con sonar lost
Excellent.
contact. Master 3, last bearing.
That is a sunk ship.
3,
okay.
Contact breaking up.
Great. Excellent. That is a mission. Man, they go down fast. You can even look at the sunk ships. There's an Udaloy we sunk earlier that's fairly close to us. You might be able to see it from our submarine. Yep, sure can. Poor guys. And there's the Sverdlov burning in the distance. Okay, great. So let's leave combat. That's everybody. Yep, 3 ships sunk. Gives us our personal congratulations. SACLANT. Submarine Atlantic Command. Something, I don't know what that acronym means. But that's our command anyways. It looks like, based on the message, it's only positive. I think that was our target. Excellent. And we're going to get an award. Yes, we have received the Bronze Star. Commander Thomas Chesterton. That's me, Chesterton. I do lots of chest in the gym. Legally changed my name to Chesterton after I joined the 1,000-pound club. On bench press alone. Okay, great. NATO attacks hit hard. So like these kind of like news reports are totally, not totally, but most of the time based on whatever the last thing our singular submarine did. So this means good. NATO good. NATO do good. Okay, in our next mission, intelligence has discerned a pattern to movements of enemy at-sea replenishment tankers and tenders. A small enemy task force, including 1 or 2 of these ships, is expected to sail from Archangel momentarily for a rendezvous near the Barents Sea. You are ordered to find and sink that group and kill anything else you see along the way. Okay, that'll be a tough mission in the Barents Sea. Tough area. But we'll save that for next time. That's it for now, guys. Thank you for checking out Submarine Saturday. And I look forward to playing Cold Waters again with you guys next time. Take care.